Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for our Around the Town tour. We have 2 stops for you today. The first stop is at the Corner Spot, a very active place this summer as we recognized and acknowledged the resignation and retirement of Chief Vin Alfano. After 3 years here in Ashland, we brought the police and fire personnel as well as some town personnel and some volunteers to come together and recognize his retirement. There was a few words said by our town manager, Michael HERBERT, as well as some words by Joseph MAGNANI, the current chair of the Ashland Select Board.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of your day to come over here. I know it means a lot to the chief. It means a lot to me. You know, today is obviously a bittersweet day because we're here to celebrate the chief's brief but impactful tenure here as our police chief. And I was thinking, as I was coming over here today, just this job presents so many things that are just unexpected. And sometimes people are put in your life for a reason and you don't really know why yet, but then all of a sudden it becomes very, very clear. And I remember when Chief Davis retired, I was faced with the decision of, okay, I need to find an interim chief, somebody who could keep things going, keep things stable. And Vin's name came up and we met and we developed an instant rapport. And it just felt like the right thing to do, to bring him on as an interim chief or an acting chief. But then after a few weeks, it became very, very, very clear that this man is a very special man and brings a lot of talents and a lot of skills and characteristics to the table that we needed, not just in an interim or acting capacity, but as a full-time capacity too. And the fact that we had a lot of things going on as a department and as a community, things that he had experience with, it just seemed very, very clear at a very, very, very early time that Vin was put in our life to make a difference in this community and help us do a lot of things that we had talked about doing as a community and moving forward. So we had the conversation and he was willing to stay on board. Let me rephrase that. Christine was willing to let him stay on board. And I can't thank you enough for your willingness to give him up for all of this time, because this is not a 40-hour per week job. It's, as I was telling Rich before, you're lucky if you get 40 hours of rest. And the people at home are the ones that have to pick up the slack. So thank you very much, Christina, for your sacrifice and your willingness to do this. But Vin just came in and just became a part of our community, and it just felt like he had been here for years and decades. And as you all know, the town has made great strides under his leadership. The department has. We've got a new building coming up, I think in large part due to his efforts and his ability to work with the public. I've said this before, I've never met a chief who is into neighborhood issues as much as Chief Alfano is. And I can't tell you how important that is for a town manager. Somebody who understands that it might be a little problem for a neighbor, or it might be, a neighborhood problem might be a little problem in the grand scheme of things, but it's a big problem for that neighborhood. And he takes it seriously, and he works to help resolve those issues. But again, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end at some point. And the chief has reached a point where he's looking to move on to the next chapter of his life. And that unfortunately means we have to look at a new chapter without him as well. So all I can say is, from a personal standpoint, I have greatly appreciated everything that you've brought to the table. From a professional standpoint, the advice you've given me on a professional and personal standpoint, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you a lot. And I wish you all the best. Joe has a little bit of a different perspective here, because not only is he chair of our select board, but he was also a police officer 34 years. Sorry, I almost said 33, and I didn't want to get in trouble.
That's okay.
But Joe, do you want to say a few words?
I would like to say a brief comment. Besides, thank you. Thank you for taking over a very difficult position when it was time to take over. I was walking out of a meeting with Michael one day, and he told me he was thinking of making you an interim. And I saw you out in the hallway, and I looked at you and said, why don't you take it on a full-time basis? And you looked at me and you said, you really think so? I said, I know so. I said, our career paths, they follow one another. When you were in Framingham, we paralleled for a number of years. And I knew you then, and you hadn't changed one iota. You were diligent and a very professional person back then. And you went up to Bolton. I hadn't seen you for a number of years, and then you came back into this area, and I said, he hasn't changed at all. So character doesn't change. So I'm very grateful that you became our police chief, because the professionalism that you showed, the character that you showed, as not only just as an individual, but as a chief, and the leadership that you provided during a time when it was needed. I just wanted to say thank you. It made Mike's job a lot easier. And it made ours, as the select board members, easier, because we didn't have to hear all the complaints that we used to hear all the time from the citizenry of the town, because you would take care of it. So I wish you the very best in your retirement. All right? And should you decide to come back, we'll talk about that later. I know that your wife is looking at me, shaking her head feverishly. No, that's not going to happen. Good luck in your new endeavors and your best wishes. And again, Ben, thank you very much for everything you've done for this community and for our department as a whole. And we'll definitely call you back when those doors open up for the new year. Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do.
Right before I started speaking, I asked the chief a very stupid question, which was, would you like to say a few words? Okay, Ben, you've got the floor.
Thank you. Christine brought the hook, so when I go too far, she's used to it. She'll yank me out of there. And Warren Nelson, the chief in Bolton, who came after me, knows that. So, first off, I hate parties with a passion. You all know that. I'm a very quiet person, but I am absolutely moved and humbled by the fact that all of you took time to do all of this. This is just phenomenal. I am speechless. Number one, the fact that everybody's here, and number two, you have ice cream and you have meatballs and all the important things in the world. And I think Lisa Ugliaro had something to do with that, but I'll have to investigate that further. But I will tell you, probably without question, one of the most difficult decisions I had to make in my life was to return to retirement. All of you here, no matter what department you're in, have been like a second family to me. And that's the way it's been. And that's the way it's going to continue. I'm going to send everybody all my personal contact information, and you're all welcome to come out. There's always a pot of coffee on, or a beer in the refrigerator, or ice cream, plenty of ice cream. So I want to stay in touch with everybody here. I'm only just a phone call away. But I said this when I first started in Ashland, and I'm going to say it now that I'm leaving. I still have a week to go, by the way. Is the fact that Ashland is a very unique community. I've worked in very big police departments, and I've worked in smaller police departments. And it's like the Three Bears. Ashland's right in the middle. And it's a very comfortable, the most comfortable fit. It's a small town with big town issues, but everybody still remembers everyone's names. The firefighters, they're all brothers and sisters to me. Doug, who's hiding in the back, he's like a brother to me. He's unbelievable. The talent that is in this town. Where's Chief Rowley? There he is. I've had to serve as his spokesperson for a while, but he's really good at speech making now, so get him out there. I absolutely thank Mike, and I thank the board, Joe, all of you, all the select board, for the faith and trust that you placed in me to come here. And it was a tough time. It was a tough time for the police department. There was a lot of instability. I think stability is very, very important. You have stability in a town manager, and you've seen what happens. You've got stability in your police department now. I applaud Mike's decision and the board's support to appoint Lieutenant Briggs as the acting chief. That's what the department needs with me leaving. You're going to see nothing but forward movement under his steady hand. So that's a decision that I applaud, and I certainly thank you for that, because I know those are tough decisions to make nowadays. But it worked out well in Bolton. He's still there, still the chief, and he was my right-hand man in Bolton, and he's in the new building that we built, which you're all welcome to go up and see. It's sort of the small version of the one that we're going in. But if I said thank you to everybody for all the wonderful things you've done to me, I'd be here all day. So I'll say a blanket thank you to all of you. You're all very, very special to me. Talented musician right there, Dale. All of you, just phenomenal experience. But I think there's still a lot of things I have to do left in my life. The one thing I can't control, whether I have these stars on my shoulder or a gun, is you can't control time. You have no control over time. So I say to all of you, live every day with the people that you love and your friends and the people that you work with to its fullest. Because this past year, I've lost too many friends and too many colleagues, people I've worked with my entire life or have been friends my entire life, and not just from COVID. So that really had a lot to do with my decision to retire, because I still have a lot left that I need to do. But all of you, this has been one of the most important chapters in my life, and you're all still there. There's a little piece of all of you in my heart, and I take that with you. And I'm going to come back and drive a snowplow for Doug, so who knows? He keeps begging me.
Take out a few minutes.
Our next stop on the Around the Town tour is over at Stone Park for a summer concert. Yes, last year there were no summer concerts, and it's so nice coming out of COVID to be able to have those summer concerts again. There are only going to be 4 this year, so there was the one on June 30th, there'll be one on July 13th, and then you can check the Ashland Day schedule for the rest of the concerts. Let's go take a look and a listen on the steamy night and hear some great music. Well, it was a short one, but that wraps up our Around the Town tour for this episode. If you have an event that you'd like to share with us here at Around the Clock and WACA-TV, make sure you reach out to us, and we would love to share your event with our viewers.